Hi, I'm Ling and I'm a photographer and artist in Sydney. I make everything from my home art studio, which is also just my living room, and I feel really grateful to have such an open space that's constantly filled with friends. My whole apartment was recently featured in a magazine. They were covering a homewares brand called YULI that I started with my friend Sarah. And the article really focused on the idea of our pieces creating calming home rituals. I thought it was so interesting to see my art reflected in that way and also to see my home captured. Unfortunately, recently a few friends have visited while they've been going through some really difficult times. And over the last few weeks, it's really made me reflect on what Jason and I wanted to make our home feel like. When we first moved in, we actually talked a lot about how we wanted it to be a calm place, and I think it's influenced how we use it day to day, but it's also been really important to me when friends have come and said that it has felt calm to visit, or even that they didn't want to leave despite everything else that they might have had going on that week. So today I'd love to capture and share a few corners around my home that I feel like are the easiest places to rest. We can start with tea on the couch because that's where we'll spend most of the time. I'm not exaggerating when I say that friends have chatted here for whole days and nights, and we really just want it to be the perfect place to unwind. I am so committed to this that I've made a tea cart which has any tea that you can imagine: teapots, teacups, matcha whisks, so we don't have to go anywhere, we can just sit and chat. I even printed out this menu which has both English and Chinese, just in case my grandparents or family are over and want to see the whole range. And in Cantonese we would say yamecha, or what tea would you like to drink? Tea has always been at the center of time with family, and I feel like it's just a given when hosting. A friend gifted me a canister with washi paper, and I found a whole set to store the tea. We have things like jasmine, pu'er, tigonyan, chai, longjing, genmaicha, ginger, hibiscus, rose, chrysanthemum, and blue lotus. Sarah and I also create teaware for YULI with her handmade ceramics and bamboo whisks for matcha or hojicha lattes. Making tea has become such a peaceful routine, and I think it's one of the best ways to start the morning. When something turns into a daily ritual, it's very easy to zone out from everything else and just focus on the act of making. The main thing is to have one part of the day that is purely restful. My grandfather always calls to check if I've made traditional Chinese soups as well, and we have ingredients for different phases of cycles and health. When I worked in a very stressful job, self-care used to feel like a luxury or something to do after being busy. But a lot of the time, friends will come over now just to drink teas, chat, and do skincare on our couch, and it's much more refreshing to treat health as a priority rather than something that's getting in the way of productivity. Even when we're not hosting and chatting to friends, I still like to make it really easy to sit and reflect, just so things don't ever simmer or brew. These are some journals that I made for the Homewares collection. They have my painting on a linen cover, and we designed them to lie flat, so it's really easy to work through any thoughts or ideas. There's an inner energy that we save for things that we really want to do, no matter how busy life might be, and we wanted these journals to be a place to follow that intuition and motivation. But sometimes the easiest way to relax is to spend some time outside of our minds, filling the space with natural light, movement, or focusing on all of our senses. It can also help to make something. When friends come over, it can also be really nice to just have creative afternoons where we still chat a lot and all day, but we're also focused on making something as well. I'll usually just clear this fold-up table and bring out any supplies for crafts that they want to make. It can have a theme, or it can just be really nice to create something without any pressure or expectation. I have so many ideas for calm, creative afternoons that don't need too many art supplies. A lot can be made from paper, like cards, lanterns, or origami. Painting on paper fans can also be really relaxing, which I've done with gouache and ink. I've found that you only need a few simple ideas to make a pattern, something low pressure like flowers, clouds, or cranes. We've painted similar patterns on canvases, sometimes using mediums to create textured art. Friends always come over to arrange flowers as well, so I pick up things like orchids, anthuriums, lotuses, and chrysanthemums. I don't think you even need too many different types of flowers to do this, because there's something in the repetitive action of trimming and decorating that can be very peaceful. One of my friends can't use real flowers right now because of her health, so one afternoon we threaded silk ones instead. I don't think of these crafts as a distraction, but they can definitely be a way to process experiences and turn our thoughts into something very tangible, especially if we don't feel calm internally or externally. It can be really nice to just move that energy back into something that we make with our hands. Over time, I've made a lot of changes to slow down and create more. And I hope that my artworks are able to carry a feeling of peace, hopefulness, and abundance with them. This was one of the original motivations behind making art prints of this painting, and also behind my homewares collection, which was covered in an article recently. It's with Home Beautiful. They're an Australian-based magazine that focuses on interior design and decorating. But as part of their lifestyle content, they also like to feature artists and creatives. They told the story of how Sarah and I actually met while working in corporate law, and back then we didn't have much time for rest, let alone creativity, but we always shared the art we were making and became the biggest supporters of each other's ideas and dreams. A few months ago, we decided to bring them all together and launch a brand from our living rooms. The article said that there's a commonality now between our fragrances, teaware, and journals. Each item is an invitation to slow down. They said that when every order is packed, an intention is revealed. We can see the ritual, whether it's a matcha set with incense or a journal alongside a candle. The feature also said that there's a sense of serenity in our apartment, and they mentioned things like warm tone neutrals, timber furniture, and potted plants. Jason and I didn't have very specific ideas or rules about interior design, but we did agree that we only wanted to bring in things that we both really loved. I don't think that everything needs to be functional, and a lot of the things we love are just decorative, but we've definitely only picked them up intentionally. And when I look at everything together, I think there is a feeling of sentimentality and warmth behind every piece that makes up our home. When we were choosing furniture, we were also very drawn to green. Because of evolution, our eyes are actually very sensitive to green, and we're able to see more subtle variations of it than any other color. I think we intuitively wanted to fill the space with deep greens, natural textures like wool and linen, and a lot of plants. These things make us feel safe and restful, and when our minds can rest, they can also imagine. I've always loved the idea of making a really green home and filling the apartment with plants. This one has been perfect for it because we just get so much natural light throughout the day. It's been very easy to grow things like pothos, which just don't stop. And I love that when you first walk in, the first plant you see is usually the elephant ear, which has the most vibrant and huge leaves. I think a bonsai has also helped to make the space feel really tranquil. It just takes quite a lot more care than the other plants. But I think that's actually been quite a good reminder, because if our bonsai is underwatered, there's a very high chance that I've just been rushing through the week and haven't slowed down to do something very simple that really only takes a minute. Other than keeping the plants fresh, I think fresh scents can also really affect our mood. There's a porcelain reed diffuser that we made for YULI, and we always keep this in the hallway with one of our tea fragrances. Sarah and I also made tea-scented candles with a wooden wick, so they have this really gentle crackle in the background. This living room is where we do absolutely everything: working, cooking, hosting, storing, and packing anything that we ship out. We don't have an outdoor space, so everything needs to fit in this one room. But it all has a place, and once something is finished or friends are coming over, we'll just put everything away. I don't even think it's about cleanliness or wanting to appear tidy, and actually I'm not a very tidy person day to day, especially when I'm busy in a routine. But I kind of see this as clearing mental tabs, especially if I am trying to balance a lot of different things. I really don't want visual reminders of my whole to-do list. And if a friend's coming over, I'd really rather put everything away and just fully enjoy that time with them. There are a lot of fold-up things in our apartment so we can change the space around, but I think we also like to reduce clutter in other ways as well. We try to make background noise a little bit more intentional, usually with music on the record player or just natural sounds. And I think the main thing is choosing what to consume and what to actually pay attention to. It can be so overwhelming to keep up with every single piece of content that we get served, and it's nice to have time during the day when there's just no noise at all. Looking at physical art, reaching for books or photo albums, trying to make it easy to create by having a canvas on the easel or paper out for drawing. If you've watched this, thank you so much for spending time here. It would be great if you could subscribe to this channel and follow YULI KILN on Instagram for more art and homewares. But in the meantime, I hope it's just been a good place to unwind.